Councillor Jane Taylor.
I'd just like to ask the leader why Councillor Perrott, the leader, Councillor Hook and Councillor Colin Parker last week couldn't give me the definition of what a woman was, please.
Councillor Wrigley, you will try and answer.
Neither will I define anybody to be what they may or may not be other than what they wish to be, nor am I in a position to speak for other councillors.
You follow up in relation to 15. Didn't answer that one in terms of that. So perhaps you could answer the question.
You have an answer as written.
But you don't answer the question.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, did you say?
Yes.
Well, the question was what instruction have been given to staff if they are made aware of a biological man entering a female toilet. And the answer was staff are fully trained in handling incidents of many kinds.
So do you have a supplementary question on that?
But the question was you won't answer the first one. Answer the first one, I don't need a supplementary.
The answer is as written. They are trained to handle incidents of many kinds.
So I'll take that as a no then, thank you.
I do not feel comfortable sharing a changing room or a toilet facility with a man, however he identifies, and I feel that this is not...
Can I just ask you, I understand that you feel strongly on this. I have looked at the Equality Act. We are talking about a protected characteristic.
You've misquoted the Equality Act.
Have it here, and it's not in the rules, so I'm not accepting your point of order.
Chair, let me finish.
How does the duty manager... Are you going to quote the Equality Act to me or let me finish?
In this council, we have Lib Dems chairing all the committees and the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, which seems to me like you are marking your own homework and giving yourself top marks. I therefore call on this council to arrange an independent review.
Officers have signed off is that we have now opened up single-sex spaces to the opposite sex, and I'm going to talk specifically about women's and girls' spaces. Don't stop me, please, Chair, because this is very important.
I know, Councillor Taylor, I'm really sorry,
but
we
is
have...
that this
may I
affects
speak,
women and
Councillor
girls.
Taylor?
For instance, upstairs in the showers here at Teignbridge,
this
policy allows men to go into those.
But I would
it's
ask
not
you
about
to respect the
about
Chair.
this.
I
It's
would
about
ask you to respect the Chair.
The fact is, this council is not acting lawfully.
We are acting lawfully.
The importance of what goes on in schools cannot be underestimated. The transitioning of children does not start in hospital, it starts in schools. I have seen the male teachers in dresses, organisations grooming children to believe in this ideology in lunchtime, LGBTQ groups, mixed-sex facilities encouraged.
Does this type of representation stoking up prejudice, is this not in breach of the council's code of conduct?
There is no prejudice in talking about the rights of children.
Your transphobia in this chamber unchallenged, madam.
Mixed-sex facilities encouraged leading to sexual assaults. Children are being disciplined for misgendering other pupils.
Question. Where is your
if
question?
you are denying the council has any responsibility for the things I have seen happened in schools, Councillor Ledbetter...
Predatory men are refusing...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Briefly, would you like to ask a supplementary question?
Yes, please. In the terms of reference that you're proposing, firstly, who drew up the terms, and what is your proposed definition of women and single-sex spaces?
The terms of reference are in draft form. For that reason, they are not circulated and they are not published. Until we have the notice of motion dealt with in terms of it being a legal challenge, there are no other questions to answer.
Okay, thank you for coming.
So no answer then.
Lovely. Councillor Jane Taylor. So for question 1, you've asked a question, you've had a response, but I believe there was a typo in the response.
Yes, sincere apologies. There is an unfortunate error of 3 letters missing, which is that a working group has not been set up, and I appreciate that that is the exact opposite of what it states, and apologise for any confusion that has arisen or angst, because a working group has not been set up. Terms of reference, as I just stated, have been drafted. They were drafted before the close around the 12th of December, but they are in draft form and dependent on the legal input. So we are still awaiting those dates. Thank you.
So, Councillor Taylor, Jane Taylor, sorry, I appreciate that typo is very unfortunate. Do you have a supplementary for question 1?
It was my understanding then that the work group would be set up so that they could agree and sign off any terms of reference. So in terms of the terms of reference, who has drafted those and who was consulted with in order to draft them, please?
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. The terms of reference were initially drafted by yourself. Those were not accurate or acceptable. They didn't comply. I then redrafted them with senior officer input, and they are currently in draft form. Your challenge is a legal challenge. Until that legal challenge has been answered through the monitoring officer by King's Counsel, there are no further questions, because if we are compliant with all acts and operating legally, there are no further questions. Therefore, there will be no working group to set up. Hence, we need the legal input from King's Counsel.
The Overview and Scrutiny agreed to set up a working group. They also agreed it would be the highest priority. I've not been informed that my motion was not acceptable or illegal. My motion asked for all our quality and diversity policies to be reviewed. I don't see anything unlawful about that. And I asked for the single-sex spaces to be reviewed. There is nothing unlawful or illegal about that. I have not
just to clarify, Councillor Taylor, because you've got your supplementary question.
There is no legal challenge.
Just to clarify,
I have asked
what
for
my
a
colleague
review
said.
Of all
what my colleague
policies.
said was that I think it was the language used in the draft terms of reference. That's what she referred to. That she had some assistance to rewrite those. They're exactly that.
Yeah, and that's her view. Have you
So they can
spoken
be
to me?
edited.
Have you spoken to me about that? Have anybody spoken to me about that? Has anyone brought it to the attention of the Overview
you've asked a
and Scrutiny
supplementary.
group who signed off
I'd suggest that
working
we
group?
take this out of the meeting after the meeting to find out exactly what's going on. But this is a supplementary question. It's not a to and fro debate. You had a second question, which was about O&S meeting in November, and you've had a written response to that. Would you like to ask a supplementary?
Well, I'd like to ask who drafted that response, please. Who wrote that response to me on my second question when I asked about this council allowing men in female changing rooms? Who drafted that response, please?
Is that your supplementary question?
No, I've got another one. I want
No,
to know.
so you have one supplementary
I think I'm entitled
question.
to ask who answered that question. Who drafted that response?
What is your supplementary question? Because as you can see, it
Councillor
says...
Saunders, did you
says-
draft that response? Because I think you've sent me emails with that kind of language in before. Did you draft that response?
Councillor Taylor, you've had the response written. You've been given the opportunity to ask a supplementary. Would you like to ask your supplementary?
Have you seen the response?
I've got it right in front of me here.
Right, that response came last night. I didn't see it. It wasn't sent to me in advance, and then this was put on the public Teignbridge website. This response is outrageous, and it's not something that I would respond to in public. And had you sent me the email around that, we would be having a conversation.
Right,
the things
Councillor
that you
Taylor,
have said about me
what I can
in this
suggest
email,
is the
you have said that I'm
Councillor, as you know from our
inappropriate,
standing orders,
unhelpful and
this question time,
misconceived.
if you
Councillor
have,
Saunders,
if you
did
have
you
a
write this
complaint
reply?
about your response,
I'm
that's
asking
absolutely
Councillor
fine.
Saunders, did you write
but
this
you
reply
must
to me? You've said that I'm deliberately inflammatory.
Councillor Taylor,
You have said
point of order.
that the things I have said in my motion.
I'm going to have to
in
cease
effect,
this meeting
are
in a
lie.
moment to
Well, you
postpone
cease
it
the
for
meeting.
momentarily
If
for you
that's
to
what you want
catch
to
your
do is
call.
cease the meeting. But I will
You know
not
that you have
sit
the
back
opportunity
here
to ask supplementary.
and have
I'm not going to
my
continue
name
shouting over you.
besmirched in this way by
Right, we
Councillor
shall-
Saunders. So please stop the meeting.
We'll adjourn
Please
for 5
stop
minutes.
the
Thank
meeting
you.
and we can have a discussion.
Chance to ask a supplementary about question 2. Would you like to ask a supplementary?
Yes, I would, but also you've just accused me of hate speech. So I'd like to...
No, I
attack
didn't.
that.
Thank you. Would you
Yes,
like your
did.
supplementary?
You just said hate.
Would you like your
Debate,
supplementary question?
Not hate. There's no hate speech. I'm protecting the
I've
rights
never
of
used
women
that
and
phrase
girls.
towards you.
There
Would
is
you? Like to ask your supplementary?
I have no hate. So I think that needs...
Would you like to
I'd
ask
that
your
for the record.
supplementary?
Yeah, the second question is the one that wasn't answered. I'd like to know who drafted the response.
Is that
to
your
my
supplementary?
question.
Your only supplementary question?
That's my supplementary
So it says
question.
response from the Chair of Overview and Scrutiny, and you'll receive a written response in more detail if you need more detail on response from the Chair of Overview and
So
Scrutiny.
it was. So you,
Thank you.
sorry, can I just be clear on your answer? I didn't understand it. So the person who drafted that response was Councillor Sanders. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying you'll get a response in writing because I feel we need to move on from this.
Sorry, it's not difficult.
It says
is it?
response
It's
from
not
the
a
Chair of
difficult
Overview and
question.
Scrutiny. I'm not going to keep going into
Well, I
it.
think in Constitution
Thank
we
you.
agreed that you can answer a question, you should answer one. I'm not sure why you need to go away and ask that question.
The
Councillor
answer
Sanders
is in the title. I'm not going to keep doing this with you, Councillor Jane Taylor. If you need to have a break, feel free to have a break. You've been given the answer. If you would like an answer in fuller terms, then that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Well, on what I said earlier, I think it's an excellent bit of work by all people involved, and it certainly gives us a foundation to move forward.
Councillor Jane Taylor.
Yes, thank you. Included in the pack, there was an equality impact assessment done in relation to this piece of work, which I've got in front of me. It acknowledges that this proposal has the potential to affect everybody, basically, service users, wider community and the Teignbridge workforce. So I think it's important that we get things right. Interestingly, as part of my motion, I wanted the equality and diversity policies looked at and the equality impact assessments looked at. So if anybody is on there, if you go to 2.1, it talks about what data or evidence there is to tell us who is or could be affected. And on that, it's asked to identify and have a look at a group of individuals who might be, so it talks about an economically active citizens for their age, disability, ethnicity, gender reassignment, religion and belief and sexual orientation. It doesn't mention sex in that statement, so there isn't, in the whole of this document, at any section, does it mention men or women. It does not mention sex at all. Do you currently monitor relevant activity by the following protected characteristics? It ticks that for sex, yes you do. So it says that you monitor relevant activity by sex, only two sexes, male and female, but yet there is nothing in here that supports that you've done that. Does it affect anybody who has got the protected characteristic of pregnancy and maternity? No. It affects violence against women and girls, domestic abuse, which we again know that women are disproportionately affected by domestic abuse, yet there is no mention of women and specific needs. In relation to housing, we know that there are many and the highest proportion of single parents are women. So the whole of this equality impact assessment, it does not mention once, not once, men or women. Now, I've got to say, for me, this is not acceptable. And not only is it not acceptable, it actually does not inform the document that we are looking at. That is the whole purpose of this document, and it does not achieve that in any way, shape or form. And I've got to say, that is very, very concerning. Thank you.
Councillor Paul Parker.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Radford.
Thank you. Listening to Councillor Taylor's question. Well, she didn't ask a question actually. So I'd like to ask the question: what was the officer's response to the male and female thing? And do you think it could be added in the future, or no?
It's lawfully got to, John.
Yeah.
It's a legal requirement.
In terms of this equality impact assessment, we can go back and review it and have a look at that. But essentially, I'm comfortable that the work that we did pick up on these different protected characteristics, and that given the quite high level that this One Teignbridge strategy is aimed at, it doesn't specify any particular protected characteristics within it. It does refer to working with our communities' environments that are most vulnerable, and then we can continue through the action plan with the project level data to make sure that those protected characteristics are reflected within those individual strands of work.
Thank you. So this is still a living document then?
It's not.
These principles will be set for 5 years, but the action plan will be a living document that sits underneath it, and that will come back to full council for sign-off within the next few months.
The lovely Graham Lynan interviewed the wonderful women of Teignbridge along with Rachel. There's a link in the video description. Now, in the interests of balance, I'm going to play out with some trans rights activists and how they like to educate women who speak out about wanting women-only spaces. Now, nothing screams women are safe quite like activists, so you can see, ladies, you've got absolutely nothing to be concerned about.
You're killing kids! You're killing kids! Child killing! You just attacked your own kids. Yeah? Go home, get in the sea, die out. You're dinosaurs! Dinosaurs! Fossils! Yeah? You're gonna die out! 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 You are ancient history! You are fossils! You are dinosaurs! You have failed! You have failed! Your ideas have failed! Get in the sea! Get in the sea like Colton! Go home! Get in the sea! Look after your kids!